You can go ahead and start. Is presenter view on? Yeah, you would be just seeing me at the moment. Yeah, we can hear you, so that's great. There we go. Um, can those of you online hear me okay? All right. Okay. Well, I just want to make sure we're on YouTube. We've had problems with that recently. I don't- All right, hold on.
Are we ready?
I am double checking we're on YouTube. We're on.
Okay. We're calling this meeting of the Takata Board to order at 5, looks like 38. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Trustee Jackson,
Here.
Trustee Nesbitt, Trustee Little,
Here.
Trustee Robinson, present. Trustee Hatchett is not here.
Okay. First item of business is approval of the agenda. Could I get a motion for the approval?
I make the motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Trustee
Call.
Little,
Yes.
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Nesbitt, Trustee Jackson,
Yes.
Motion passes. Approval of the January and February minutes.
I just say there's one correction, and we can probably approve it, but it refers to mileage when it should say millage. So I would make a motion that we approve it with the correction of mileage to millage.
Okay, a motion would be in order to approve with the necessary corrections.
Trustee Little?
Yes?
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Jackson?
Yes.
Trustee Nesbitt?
Okay.
Next is going to be the financial report. This time we are going to have Ryan share his screen so he can walk through himself. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Excuse me, please. go just a little slower, if you will, because we're trying to follow you on the screen.
I don't know if this is why he hopped off, but he also has a new baby, as you remember. So I think she's. While we're waiting, any questions thus far, first? Okay. Second, I don't know if they'll be able to provide this, but I've asked Hungerford moving forward for our internal meetings to show not just the accrual, but it shows month by month next to each other. Would that be more helpful than just looking at 1 month at a time? I like being able to see the shifts over time.
Or a graph.
Or, well, that's the thing, a graph would be great.
A graph, yeah, a graph would be better.
A graph would be better, okay. Are there any items that you are especially interested in? Because a graph for every single one of these is gonna be a lot. It's a lot of data for your eyes to pick up on. So yeah, is there anything you're most interested in me highlighting? Can be, you know, cash in, cash out, fare box you have as a graph. Hi, Ryan. You're fine.
That was, thank you. Question, I'm looking at the aging summary at number of items that are 91 and over days for payment. Is there a reason? That,
Which page are you on? Agent summary. All right, we're looking at page 9.
when I'm looking at that column, 91 days and over, which totals up about 52,000. Is there something, is there a common thread in those?
I can speak to that, Ryan, unless you want to. Yeah, so there are two items really that have been hanging out for a while. One is for HBSS Connect Corp. That is the parent company of PC Trans. The other one is for NDOT. For PC Trans, this amount is for support services. Todd had asked for a 6-month contract invoice instead of a full year, since we were only expecting to need them for 6 months, and they never got that to us, nor have we really needed their support services thus far. So that one's just been kind of hanging out. If we want to pay it, we can, but that was the reason it was hanging out. The NDOT cost, I believe, and Oliver, you can correct me if I'm wrong about any of this. This is a reimbursement to NDOT for money that they had given to us that we didn't need, right? And we've told them we're not paying them back for this until they paid us one of their, I think it was one of their ECHO payments. We basically were like, you have to give us money before we give you that money. And they were fine with that, relatively speaking. That has not gummed up the works in any way. So once we get that payment, we can release that. Obviously, I'm waiting a little bit longer, probably for the next week and a half or so, to make sure that our cash flow is running properly. Any corrections on any of that, Oliver? Yep.
Very good. Any other questions, anyone? Okay. And a motion would be in order to approve the financials? Or to accept the financials?
I make the motion that we approve the financials for, are we approving December and January?
I second that motion.
Question. I think wasn't it 4 months? Or was it 3?
It was, well, we just
Thought
looked
it
at the
was-
two today. We looked at the December financials and we looked at the January financials.
Okay, there wasn't any, okay.
Question, did we get some report, we got some report on December prior to this, didn't we? Okay,
You should have your December, January, and then I believe I sent you November as well. I don't
Okay.
know on that, but that was done a while ago.
I make the motion that we approve the December and January financials. Trustee Little,
Yes?
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Nesbit,
Yes.
Trustee Jackson.
Yes.
Moving right along, we're going to look at the fare box revenue chart. part of the information that Brian just gave you for the January fare box is that bottom line there. But what this shows is going through, go away, I don't need you AI. But what this is showing is the progression from really January 2025 through January 26. Just to keep things aligned with the quarters, I've included October through December of 2024. But really, we're looking at the progression. On the second page, you can see it as a graph. You can see there's a bit of a dip, especially when it comes to our prepaid fare styles. So that would be the tokens and both of the punch cards. Those were significantly lower this month than they've been in the past. So we'll have to keep an eye on if that trend continues. It's not that dissimilar from what we see in January of 2025. You can see there's a big dip for the white punch cards, and the blue punch cards is relatively stable. So we'll see if that trend continues. I also think that we are going to see some fluctuations as we head into this contract, and then I expect things to bounce back up. Fare box overall is also a little bit lower than it was January of last year, but not by too much. Definitely within the realm of normal. The bottom graph, just to clarify, you guys can probably tell, that shows the different kinds of fares that we offer. So it's the regular fare box, so it would be cash, the tokens, the punch cards that are white, and then the punch cards that are blue. The top line is the fare box, all combined. Any thoughts or questions on that?
If you would go back to the linear chart with the money amounts.
This one?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So between October and January, it kind of dropped off. 13,000 in October, 8,100 in November, 8 something in December, and 7
Yeah.
in January. Is there any particular reason that we know of?
This is where, unfortunately, I don't have a better breakdown of the last 3 months of 2024. Ryan kind of talked about this a bit as well, that frequently when we're looking at these numbers, they're actually closer to what they were in previous years. But since I don't have that breakdown for 2024, I can't tell you whether or not, the 8,000, 9,000, 13,000, whether that's a normal seasonal fluctuation or whether that's unusual. I do see that there's clearly a decline. That's not so surprising to me. That is, we're still relatively in the realm of what it was in 25, but really people know that there's a change happening. There's a little bit of uncertainty there. There were some rumors, but they were only rumors that we were going to lose our insurance again in December. So there are definitely some factors. I think what will be important over time is to see if that trend continues downward, and especially in this sort of April to July space, if it continues to be the same, down, or go up. This is where I expect it will go up because things like the user-facing app and whatnot make it so much easier for folks to use the service. Plus, we're going to have an increase of driving staff. Right now, we've had a decrease in driving staff. That's made wait times longer, less happy passengers. So we'll definitely want to keep our eye on that.
Any questions, anyone? No? Okay.
Next up on our docket is a vehicle report. So this report you all what they were doing was going through each of our vehicles to inspect them before they take on the insurance and maintenance of the vehicles. It's not pretty, but what I'll say is the same thing that I told to them, which is I knew we had problems in maintenance. It took a lot for us to even get preventative maintenance on the right schedule. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked either. Let me pull up.
So this vehicle maintenance are telling the needs of all the vans that we have in operation now?
Correct. These
Okay.
are all of our service vehicles specifically. The non-service vehicles are not listed, so the two sedans, the tow truck, the pickup truck, I don't believe those are listed on here. But all of the buses are. So for the most part, in the highest priority section, some fire extinguishers need to be mounted, we need to put in some safety triangles, a first aid kit needs to be mounted. This is, I would consider to be low-hanging fruit. There are a couple bigger things. On vehicle 40, the exhaust pipe needs to be rerouted because it's melting a bumper. And let's see here, what else? On 54, the rear axle seat is leaking. So that's definitely significant. On vehicles 58, 60, 62, and 63, they need an oil change. That doesn't surprise me. We just got on top of all of our preventative maintenance and then Jeff left. So it makes sense that there are a few that need to get that oil change. The big question marks are the ones that need the most significant repairs. So vehicle 35, for example, Art from VIA said that this was the worst vehicle we had in our fleet that he could get to work. And then a couple days later, something broke in it. And Ryan, the person we have currently helping us with maintenance, said it really isn't worth repairing. Just there's so much wrong with it. It's so old, it's so damaged. We probably don't want to repair it. When I brought up the idea of using it for parts, he had a look of shock and horror on his face that indicated to me that was a dangerous, bad idea. Similarly, 37 needs something significant. Art couldn't get it to work, so we couldn't get it to be officially checked, and I didn't see Ryan today, so I wasn't able to ask him more details. 38, 44, and 45 also weren't, and 50 weren't able to be turned on either. So those we'll have to see more closely what the problem is. This isn't, I guess this is more of a discussion item than an action item today. I wanted you guys to be aware that this was happening, this is an issue. VIA does want the highest priority things to be repaired before they take on the insurance obligations and actually start running the vehicle under them, even just putting them on the road.
Have we agreed on which are the highest priority items?
Well, this is part of the question. Like I said, I didn't get to talk to Ryan today, so I don't know his input, and I'm hesitant to give strong input without maintenance being part of the conversation. I can say, one of the things on our docket today is the purchase of a few new vehicles. We have additional money for additional new vehicles. We just wanted to wait until we actually came in to do the kind of second bigger purchase. So one possible option, and I'll have to talk to the state about this, is that we can dispose of some of the vehicles that don't, that just aren't worth repairing. So we can cross those off the list of needing to be insured by VIA. That lessens their liability when the new vehicles come in. They're clean, they're brand new. It's kind of a clean set for those.
Do we have any idea what the mileage is on those vehicles?
Yeah, we do. Give me a moment.
Yeah, particularly the ones that we're saying that we don't think is worth repairing.
All of the vehicles, or near all of the vehicles, have met their usable life. What the other one? No, I'm not. A good chunk of the vehicles from our biggest purchase were in 2018, which means they are just hitting the end of their usable life in terms of years, even if their miles aren't that significant. Many of the other vehicles have met their mile.
What about didn't we get the electric vans? When were they were recent.
These are in good shape. They are the ones that just needed an oil change.
And who is Ryan?
Ryan is a person who did our maintenance about 6 years, or did it 6 years.
He's the
He
same
is.
person, yeah.
He is. He is working for us sort of on an as-need basis as a favor, so that we could do any level of vehicle maintenance between now and when VIA comes in. Okay. Oh, you know what?
I got a question. I know we were working on updating all our maintenance schedules and
Yeah.
to satisfy some of the problems that we were having in the past, and I'm just wondering if any of these were on that list that needed repairs? And if they were they, what happened?
No, it's a great question. Frankly, Nick and I have known for a while that we had a maintenance need, but we were told there would be no significant staffing changes at this time. A lot of these things are not on our preventative maintenance checklist. So the checklist would include things like the oil change, maybe the tire depth, the brakes. So a couple of these, which one was it?
Well, say for instance, I hate to,
Yeah. No, you're fine.
needing a fire extinguisher
Well,
mounted.
Yeah.
If something's leaking, you don't see it.
Yeah.
First aid kit not mounted.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
You know, these are the things that, what I'm saying is, we really put a lot of hope and trust in updating that maintenance schedule so we wouldn't run into these same issues. So that's what I'm just wondering, if somehow they came up or something was a breakdown and we didn't have the staff at that time, or what?
I would say we didn't have adequate staff, is really the crux of it. Yeah.
But I would think that the drivers getting on a bus would do a check or walk around, and if it doesn't have a fire extinguisher, before leaving, he'd get one and put on there.
Well, so we have the fire extinguishers. The items are on the buses, with the exception of some of the safety triangles. They just weren't mounted the way they were supposed to be.
I see.
Right. That's the hard thing. And honestly, I don't always know all of the rules until I find out that we broke them. So, good thing is, most of this is easy enough to replace or repair. It's just the big items that we've got to look at. For odometer readings,
One other question. All these repairs that are needed, are we going to be doing that in-house, or are we going to have to take it to other shops to get it fixed? And if so, where is that going to be coming out in the budget, if there's money there? What is the strategy on that?
yep, this is part of why we're having the conversation. We do not have anyone on staff currently who can do vehicle repairs whatsoever. Maybe Donnell could mount some fire extinguishers, that's relatively simple, but nothing more in-depth than that. The only person we have who can help us is Ryan, and his availability is based on the availability he has from his daytime job.
I have a question.
Yeah,
You said the fire extinguisher was not mounted correctly?
or it wasn't mounted at all, is really,
It wasn't mounted at all, and.
That's my
the fire
understanding.
couldn't then identify that when they checked, on the bus, that they normal inspection or something during the day?
the,
I mean, how long should we go without these things being mounted when then drivers and things can see that? They should report that. That should be part of their inspection in the morning.
sometimes they did and sometimes they haven't. I'd have to look at their pre and post trips again to see if fire extinguisher being mounted is on there. If it just says fire extinguisher, well, the fire extinguisher was present. I can see the logic of it. I wish I had better answers for you. I really do.
I mean,
Yeah, you know what, Jack, I think that would be really, really helpful.
Yes, we can.
Well, I didn't understand what he said.
Say it again, Jack, if you would. We would definitely be interested.
Please. That is a better answer for you.
So when you take the reins, you say, and you're going to have them done externally, how are you going to go out and cost this out to make sure that we're getting the best, we're not just, you got all these buses that need to be fixed, and here's an opportunity for us to make some money. We want to make sure that if we're paying for it, we want to get the best bang and then make sure we got the right people doing the work. So are you familiar with people in this area, or are you going to be bringing somebody else externally from out of the area to do it? Just an idea of how we're going to approach this.
Correct.
Yeah, I know there's several, I know in the past there's been a typical place that we sent the vehicles to. I don't know if we're going to be sending them there, or I really think that's probably the biggest place around here, you know. And since they work on practically every bus that I know of if they're going to have the capacity to do it in the time frame that you're needing. And so I'm just thinking that we got to be creative in how we do this, because if we're dealing with the one that I'm thinking of, and I don't want to say it on, the name out, but I know they're pretty busy. They work for, I work for a school system. I know they're doing their buses. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know you want to get them fixed. So, I don't know what we're gonna do. If we know somebody in the area that's retired, maybe that works on vehicles, or I don't know. But
I'd
I'm
like
just
to
saying,
ask.
somebody that maybe, I don't know if any of this stuff can be done in our garage. If we have the capacity, like a muffler or something like that being rerouted, mounting some extinguishers, that's pretty simple. But I'm just trying to figure out, you want to get them on the road in the time frame that you're looking at, and that's what, 6 weeks? Maybe 4 weeks. So I'm just, I guess we're just going to have to figure out how we're going to find the people that can do it.
Do you have vendor relationships elsewhere that extend to some of the current local vendors that you might be able to work on? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. I used to ride the bus for several years. Mr. Little used to be the ED, and Ryan was there as well. I used to go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'd be down there about 6. And what I saw that was happening, the drivers was doing external inspections, checking the brakes, lights, headlights, all kinds of stuff, especially the lifts. And what I was told that Ryan was training them to know what to do. So my question is, with all these, when VIA take over and these workers that you going to contain, is Ryan or someone that you hire in is going to show them correctly how to do the inspection external? Because it's very important.
Well, I think, board, with that information and him hearing our concerns about trying to control and keep costs under control, I'd like to recommend that we accept his offer to help us with that. Is there a motion?
I make that motion.
I second that motion.
Roll call.
Trustee Little?
Yes?
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Jackson?
Yes.
Trustee Nesbitt?
Yes.
And thank you, Jack. We appreciate that.
Speaking of Jack, now we get to do, the funds that actually, real quick, two other things before we move on. First off, we do have the odometers as recent as, February 17th, 2026. This is just the odometers, not their purchase date, so that's really important. Most of them have not hit that 200,000 mark, except for the ones that run the fixed route. But if we jump to our fleet list, there we go. You can see we've got 2018, 2018, 2018.
What, that 35 and 36,
Mhm.
what's the mileage on that one?
35 and 36 is, they're both gonna be quite high. It looks like 35 is around, is just under 200,000. 36 is about 146. And both of these, just based on their years alone, are about due for replacement. So we can purchase vehicles as soon as we have the funds and decide to do it, to replace these vehicles. And they say it's a 3 to 4 month turnaround now for when you order a vehicle to when it's delivered. We say you should plan for more like 6 months, just to be safe. But yeah, I also wanted to quick touch on, what you had mentioned, Corey, about the maintenance plan. A while back, I put together a list of what the vehicle maintenance should be based on every single vehicle's make and model. I wanted to make sure that we got through the preventative maintenance that we needed to get through first before we circled back to it. But I think once we've kind of moved into this transition, might be a good time to readdress the vehicle maintenance plan that we currently have and update those preventative maintenance lists, because it is different for every single vehicle we have.
But now, if we get these brought up to date, as Jack has offered to help us do, we're out of the preventive maintenance end of it. That's VIA's responsibility.
Well, they still have to follow our, they still have to make sure that they are following our plans. So we'll still be required, for example, to have a drug and alcohol policy, even if we have no staff that would apply to. Jack, you probably know a little bit more about that than I do, of whether or not, like, how important our maintenance plan is for you guys. We could keep, yeah, he's still on. We could probably keep it very simple so that it's easy for them to achieve, and then they'll have their own standards, or we could make it stricter so that they have to meet those standards. But this is my understanding on how we will be measured when it comes to our next triennial review, is whether or not we have adequately provided oversight for the contract.
And I would agree that would be the way to do it, but I think that would be up to VIA to provide a plan that's acceptable to us, that they would carry out, and us to monitor to see that it's done. Yeah. Sure.
Great. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the choice of, where are you? Is the choice of brand. So while I'm pulling this up, go ahead and take out your beautiful blue brand universe option. You know what, go ahead. I was gonna pull it up, but I think it'll actually be easier if you do it.
questions on any of that? Okay, go ahead and proceed.
Nope.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
Well, I like option two.
I like it too as well. I like option two.
Unanimous.
But I do like to know a little bit about how that app kind of walk us through what it's going to be like. It's different to what we have now in dispatch. Is that totally gone, or everything's going to go through the app, or how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, the question is, how the app works with dispatching. Will the dispatch system we have right now be totally gone, or will that still exist?
So I book a ride online through the app. And how can you monitor all the different rides that are being booked online as well as through dispatch? And how does that expedite our service better? One other question. So you're going to basically, there also be a map somewhere in dispatch that sees everything and where everybody's at?
And 18 buses are taken out of service. There are probably still locators on all those buses. You might want to save them, because those were the buses that we bought back when I was there.
Yeah, we probably
All right?
Yes.
Motion's in order.
I make the motion that we accept option 2.
I'll second it.
Aye.
Okay. Trustee Little?
Aye.
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Nesbit?
Yes.
Trustee Jackson?
Yes. I have one question. Uh, I had toured that battle ride when you was there. Is that the same system they're gonna have displayed where I saw where all the buses was going when you, so they go 39, they go 24, all that kind of stuff. That just kind of similar?
I'm sure it's similar. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Well, what I hear, and I just want to say this to you, Jack, is that we welcome you to Takata. And what I'm hearing is somewhat of what our dream, and my dream, and the sports dream is that we move in this direction. And with what I'm hearing, it sounds like that's where we're going. And thank you.
Second that emotion.
Well, let me say it. Well, I want you to hear this is because we really appreciate VIA coming in and supporting Takata in this new adventure, a new management team taking over and actually giving the dream that this community really needs and speeding up the service for our people. And I just want to say that we thank you. We really thank you for supporting our dream.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because the community in Benton Harbor is really growing and it's expanding, and with the help of you all, it's going to make it even more possible to do the things that we want to do.
Yeah, so we got new housing coming, more people, and they're gonna need a ride some everywhere. So I appreciate you as well.
Okay. Moving right along. Here's the agenda. Next item on the agenda are a couple of contracts. And, ooh, it's getting so late. Um, So right now, we're looking at the Mackinac Insurance Claims Administrator contract. This is a contract that Todd had signed in November. They reached out to me because they needed to make sort of a small administrative change compared to the rest of the contract. So if you look on page 5, I've highlighted the difference for you. The old version of the contract said TW, you can look at this one, said TW1001-25.
And it's 26 on the other.
It should have been 26, yes. That's the change.
That's the only change.
That is the only change.
Can you tell me what this contract's for again?
Yeah, so this is our claims administrator for our general liability and our vehicle insurance. It's different than the actual provider of the insurance. They're just the ones who handle the claims. We don't have a ton of claims open with them, but the big one that we had was the intersection collision that happened, say, back in February of last year. And the gentleman who was injured substantially in that is part of this. It is a 1-year term, so this contract is good through December 31st of this year.
So you need permission to sign it, right?
Yeah, just because we don't have an authorized signer.
Are there any questions on this that anyone has? Because it basically is a firm that's going to be administering existing outstanding claims and assuming without saying no others occur between now and the 17th of March when they take over. But whatever occurs, they'll handle that for us through the balance of the period that we're in, and also the resolution of which may take place after VIA takes over, but where we're still responsible. And page 5 shows their schedule of their fees per incident, plus the annual $2,165, well, since it's 1 year, claim and, or fee, unless some of these go beyond that and we need to extend it. Okay, if everybody understands, and as they say, if all hearts and minds are satisfied, a motion will be in order.
I make the motion to accept the changes on for the insurance.
A second.
Does the motion need to say we accept the change and authorize Tressa to sign it, or how should that be worded?
I think that would be perfect.
I make the motion that we make the change, changing from 25 to 26 and authorize our deputy director to sign it.
I second that motion.
Call for the question?
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Jackson.
Yes.
Trustee Nesbit.
Yes.
All right, second one I got for you, hit it in my stack, very similar, these are 1099 for purchases for services that we made last year. The top section is for some CDL training that we did for drivers. The second section is for floor buffing. So the same thing, just since we don't have an official authorized signer, I thought it was smarter to put it in front of you all to get that authorization.
And these are the actual amounts that were paid?
Correct.
Okay. Does everyone understand? Any questions?
None.
Not, a motion's in order?
I make the motion that we authorize the deputy director to be authorized to sign these, are they 1099s? 1099s.
Second is the motion.
Call for the question?
Trustee Little.
Aye.
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Nesbit.
Yes.
Trustee Jackson.
Yes.
Right. The next thing we have are the bus purchases. You'll see there are two purchase order spreadsheets for you. One has a yellow highlight at the top, one has purple. The yellow highlight is for vehicles with a slide and click secure system. I'm sorry, one vehicle with a slide and click secure system. That is the current wheelchair securement system that we have in place right now. The one with the purple, the only difference between these two purchase orders is that the purple has a partially electric securement system. So once the drivers actually hook in the wheelchairs, they push a button, it tightens, and hopefully that's more secure and lowers any sort of liabilities related to the vehicles and the drivers handling wheelchairs. The reason we only have one sign up for that system is because it is more expensive, so it's a little bit more of an experiment. The money for this is coming from money that we have specifically allocated for vehicles. We don't contribute any local share for this, we get reimbursed fully. But since we weren't purchasing cameras, VIA is installing their own cameras. We had a little extra money to experiment on a wheelchair securement system. These are both non-CDL cutaway vehicles. The original intention was that they would replace our fixed route vehicles. I think given the state of a few of our vehicles, we might want to rethink exactly what they are replacing. But they are meant to be replacement for two of the vehicles currently in our fleet. The only other major difference between these vehicles and what we usually purchase and what these ones are is, after discussing with VIA, these ones will not include pre-painting by the manufacturer. We're gonna wait until after they're delivered, and then VIA will put the logo on it, the stripe, and all that good fun stuff you just saw.
Question?
None.
If I might, I have one. Jack, are you with us? Yeah. Have you reviewed these and they're in keeping with what you all will use as your, very good. Excellent. Any other questions?
None.
All right, motion would be in order to approve the purchase of these as presented and to authorize Tressa to execute.
Second.
Call for the
Sure.
question?
Trustee Little?
Aye.
Trustee Robertson, yes. Trustee Jackson?
Yes.
Trustee Nesbit?
We don't have any old business or new business, anything in the chair's report before we move on to public comment and then our closed session.
Well, I would simply inform the board that I'm making a request to meet with the representatives of the county board that met with us before. And I'd like to ask Jack to be present, and any of you, if you wish, to kind of update them as to how we're proceeding. And as you recall, from earlier discussions held with them, we had indicated as this process began to unfold that we would offer to have Via sit down with them and with us and see how we might be able to help address their needs, which have previously been handled by Berry and Bus.
When is this going to take place?
I would have to make a request to the county to find out when their schedule would permit.
I would like to attend.
Very good.
Well, I would like to attend, but being a school teacher, it's kind of hard to get away not having some advance notice.
I understand.
If it's something happens and it's after 3:45, then I would be very interested in attending. And I just want to mention that I did read an article in the paper of some discussion that they were having about expanded services and stuff. So I'm hoping that this kind of knocks that out the park, because VIA can probably do what they're asking for.
And I agree, and I believe that what they want is the same thing that we want, and I think that VIA will give us, and that is a reliable service that allows people to know when they're going to get picked up, and that they get picked up on time, and that gets them to where they're trying to go when they're supposed to be there, so that the reliability protects people's jobs, their doctor's appointments, and things of that nature. And I'm hopeful that as this unfolds and everyone sees that that kind of service is there, that more people will feel that this may be the solution that they need.
I agree.
All right, public comments. Any comments? No, okay. I think you're really our only public members today. Okay, well, with that being the case, we can move into our closed session. Rather, make a motion to move into closed session, I think, is how that works.
Motion's in order?
I'll make the motion that we go into closed session to
Personnel.
discuss strategy with our attorney.
Call for the question?
Trustee Little?
Yes?
Trustee Robinson, yes. Trustee Jackson?
Yes.
Trustee Nesbit?
Yes.